Hello, today I'm going to show you how we could use signed JWTs for client credentials grant in Keycloak for kube workloads. So we start with the following situation. We have our Keycloak pod that has mounted a token that is bound to one of the service accounts. In this case, I'm using the default one. If we look at the token, we can see that it has the audience set to main Keycloak API server, and it is bound to the default service account. So now Keycloak is capable of downloading the JWKS keys and verifying all the tokens created by the Kube API server and mounted into different workloads. What can we do with this? Well, we can create one of the workloads and mount a token into it. Again, this can be bound into any of the service accounts, but all we have to do is set the proper audience of that token which is created. And from now on, Keycloak can verify whether this token is valid, and with small changes, it can also use the signed JWT client authenticator for the client credentials grant. Let me show you how it works. So for the purpose of this demo, I'll be using the signed JWT test client. This client has turned on service accounts, and right now I need to set the JWKS URL. This field is new, it's added into my pull request. So first I need to set the Kube API server address, and then for obtaining those keys, we need to use the token which is mounted into the pod. Then I need to set the signed JWT credentials, and that's more or less it. The first interesting use case I wanted to show you is how we could use the Terraform provider to manage an instance which is deployed inside of the cluster. So in my case, I'm using the telepresence project. That means all the traffic that flows into the Keycloak pod is being intercepted and passed into my local environment. This is purely for convenience. So first we can ask the Kube API server to create a token for us with audience targeting to Keycloak instance. Again, imagine this is an exposed Keycloak instance through an ingress or any other way. Again, I'm using telepresence here just for convenience. So let's create a token. Once we have that token, we can use this for client credentials grant. And as you can see, we obtained an access token from Keycloak. A more interesting demo is to spin up a workload which is inside of the cluster, and that workload uses the client credentials grant. So let me show you the workload that I'll be using. This is the SA token audience demo. As you can see, I'm using the Keycloak service because this is traffic that is inside of the cluster, and I'm using an expiration seconds. This is actually 10 minutes. You cannot create tokens that expire in a shorter period of time than 10 minutes in Kube. So again, Kube CTL minus apply demo pod. The demo pod is up and running. Let's get into it. I'll take the token which is mounted into that pod to execute the client credentials grant, and as you can see, I successfully obtained an access token. So that's all what I wanted to show you. Have a great day.